Hey Stags fans, welcome back to another From the Director's Chair. As we're coming to you from a new venue this time. We're deep within the realms of the Stag Sports Network studios. Here a little bit on that in just a moment. JJ Duke, Paul Schlickman here. Paul, the last time that we talked, we were just exiting the winter season. It still feels, unfortunately, like winter the past couple of weeks, but the sports scene continues to be thriving here on campus.
It's been a rough spring, no question about it, but it certainly does feel like winter in New England. But our spring seasons are right in the thick of things. Everybody's pretty much right in the middle of conference play or on the heels of going to a championship. Men's and women's golf, the first up coming up this weekend. But it's been an exciting spring thus far. We've had a lot of close contests, and I would say it's fair to say everybody's in the hunt right now.
Absolutely. Before we go there, though, always important to acknowledge the student side. Very recently, the Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society inducted their new class from Fairfield University, and of those 45 members, 5 of which came from the athletics community, 2 from volleyball, 1 from women's soccer, and 2 from the dance team. This has to bring a smile to your face.
It does. You know, as we've talked about before, and as we mentioned previous kind of academic acumen and stats of our student athletes, I continue to be impressed by what they accomplish on the academic side of the house. And so to have 2 volleyball players, a women's soccer athlete, and a couple members of our cheer and dance squads achieve Phi Beta Kappa continues to be indicative of just how talented they are. And I think the nice thing about the Phi Beta Kappa honor is that it's not just a straight academic award. It's indicative of the character they display on campus and in their daily educational lives at Fairfield. So very pleased, very excited for those individuals, and a great honor for them, and certainly, you know, a great reflection on us and the university and the department. So it's a lot of fun to see that. It fills us with a lot of pride.
For sure, and congratulations to those individuals as well. And then when we last left off, we were right before conference basketball tournament up in Albany. Right. We can't go past the fact of the amazing run that the Fairfield men's basketball team, led by Sydney Johnson. Unfortunately, they didn't come home with the title, but a lot of memories and a lot of positives came from that weekend.
Absolutely. I think we're still riding some of the great positive momentum and wave from that. In some sense, it feels like it was a year ago. In some sense, it feels like it was just yesterday. And you're right, you're in a little bit of a time warp when you're kind of up in Albany at the conference tournament, and all programs, all Division I programs go through this. And it was a spectacular stretch of 4 or 5 days for our program, for the university. I was so impressed with how our team finished. They obviously had a great run in the second half of the league season and acquitted themselves really well, playing very hard, I think peaking at the right time, young players gelling and really stepping up. Tyler Nelson being Tyler Nelson at his best and leading us and leading the charge. Coaching staff doing a great job in getting everybody prepared, and so really fun to see how they just attacked that tournament and had a great run. And obviously just, you know, fell a little bit short with a very good Iona team, one that's tourney tested. And I think probably at the end of the day, if you asked most of our constituents and our fan base, and you asked me what team did I fear the most, probably Iona, based on how we matched up with them, based on their tourney toughness and the fact that they've been there, done that. I thought we played them really tough, ended up a little short. Outside of the basketball part of it, really thrilled with what that did for the university, for our program, and the kind of the positive energy and buzz it created for those 4 days. And it kind of escalated. There was a great progression to it, and then a cumulative impact to it. So whether it was through social media or the watch parties on campus with students, and so to get them engaged even from a distance was phenomenal. Having students travel to the game, having our alumni and various constituents jump on board and travel to games and try and get there. The exponential positive aspects of it were really terrific. It was a great run, as I said at the outset, and really pleased. And now we look towards the future. And so everything that we've been talking about and looking towards, myself, coach, and his staff, is about trying to figure out how we capitalize on that momentum, be it with recruiting, be it with player development, be it with, you know, all our infrastructure for men's basketball, and how we continue to progress our program to, you know, continue to achieve those expectations of getting to the finals and then hopefully certainly breaking down the door.
Tyler Nelson, you mentioned the great career that he had. He also had an opportunity to continue that. Very recently, he was invited to the very prestigious Portsmouth Invitational, which is really a great tool for NBA scouts right before the draft to have a look at some of the best graduating seniors. He performed admirably in that tournament. He was named to the all-tournament team as well. And I think that's not only just a great representation for Tyler himself, but also for the university. Again, as you said, creating that buzz. And now, Fairfield, they're getting their name out in the college basketball landscape, and they're producing top quality players.
Absolutely. And there's been several things associated with Tyler and the program that have certainly brought us great attention, deservedly so, to him and to us, our program, and ultimately to Fairfield, and all of that is good. It started with the hug, if you will, and then it kind of took off from there, and then we had this great run through the tournament, and then Tyler gets invited to the All-Star game, the senior All-Star game at the Final Four, and I was fortunate enough to be able to be there and watch him play, and he's a winner, and he figures out how to play well and acquit himself well and shine, and so he did a great job there. Gets invited to Portsmouth, and all of a sudden after 3 games he's on the all-tourney team, and he's part of scoring a winning basket. So the young man's a winner, and he knows how to play the game. I think he's going to continue to show the right people that he can have an impact at the next level, whatever that may be for him. He's going to have a nice career for himself because great player. He's proving to everybody that he's a great player, but he's also a great young man, and that's why we're so proud to have him out there representing us and bringing all this positive attention to us.
And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be tracking his career as he moves forward into the professional ranks. Now, turning our attention to the spring, as we've said, it's a lot to go through, so we'll kind of just pick the bits and the pieces of it. But as you said it, everybody is in the hunt for not only making some noise in the postseason, but getting ultimately to their respective NCAA tournaments.
I think so, and I think you're right to depict it that way. Like January and February, our spring teams are training, and then they're starting to compete in February, and there's this overlap period where it kind of sneaks up on you, and then you get through the winter season, comes to a close, and then spring break's right there, and then you get after spring break, and then it's like a dead sprint into the final stretch of spring seasons, and then it just kind of happens all at once. This past weekend, as an example, we had 4 or 5 different events on Saturday between 12 and 5, all right within 300 yards of each other. So that's the nature of the beast. It's great. It creates a great atmosphere on campus, and we're excited about that. And I'm excited to see how our teams compete down the stretch. And I think the lacrosses are right there on the cusp of hopefully having a good finish and getting to battle for their conference titles. Same with baseball and softball. They're right there. A lot of games to play, and though they play so many games across the season in conference, the tennises are battling, and the golfs are going to go play for their championship this weekend, and crews are out on the water. So everybody's doing something, and so we got a lot going on. But it's a fun time of the year, and we'll see what happens in the next month or so.
Fortunately, as we said, the weather's starting to get warmer, so make sure to head on down to the various events that we've had, or we're going to have over the next couple of weeks to wrap up the season. Now, turning our attention back a little bit off the playing fields, but we had a very important day back on March the 20th, which is Stag Giving Day. It's the opportunity for the university as a collective, and as well as each of the individual facets, to raise money for respective programs. It was a big day for the university, but it was a very big day for athletics.
Great day. It was great for me to experience that firsthand. Certainly, coming into the job, I had read about it and knew that it was something that institutionally we geared up for, and certainly a point of emphasis as we try institutionally to continue to engage alums and try and increase our percentage of giving, which is a very important strategic point for us. And obviously, we're trying to do our part with that, and we do that to try and create our own resources, but also we want to be an integral part of our fundraising efforts university-wide. And great effort by all of our staff, led by our external marketing team, which is a part of it. It's Zach Dayton and his crew, and Nick Wormley, who works very closely with our staff as well as our institutional advancement staff. So their teams did a terrific job of getting us prepared and getting all the information out there. And so, we were set up for success. The numbers speak for themselves to some degree. We had just shy of $280,000 on the day, 1,400 donors. Great stats in and of themselves, so a 67% increase. And so we like to see the uptick. I think it's indicative that we're making that a point of emphasis amongst our coaches and getting their buy-in and having them embrace it and work hard at it. The 2 stats that I'll throw in there that I was really proud of and impressed with, because I think it shows that we're vested in our own ventures, if you will, and we had close to 90% giving on the part of our student athletes towards that day. And then a new point of emphasis for us, and something that we haven't necessarily tracked, is our staff giving. So we were just over 70% with our staff giving. So very excited about those numbers, and certainly something that we want to, and we need to, have a continual point of emphasis on. But we just had a staff meeting yesterday, and I opened the meeting by giving them these updated stats, and the first thing I said to them was, after congratulating them, was we're going to continue to go on the notion that everybody's a fundraiser. Everyone on our staff is a fundraiser each and every day, and I think the numbers are bearing itself out that people are embracing that mantra. So it's fun to see.
Another thing off the field that we wanted to point out here during our chats that we've had from the director's chair is the fact that our increased priority to making the in-streaming home viewership something a little bit more imperative. As you guys have noticed throughout the year, the Stag Sports Network really took new legs this season, more broadcasts that I think we've ever had before. We were showing soccer games, I think, back in late August, and we'll be continuing going forward until the middle of May with baseball and softball. And this is something that I know a lot of people have put a lot of time and energy into it. Also, big thanks to the Fairfield University Media Center for helping us out, including building this great studio that we have that we've been using for basketball and volleyball this past year. Tell us a little bit about why that's so important to make sure that we have this platform available for those at home.
It's the wave of the future. I mean, the future is now, and certainly there's an ever-increasing trend, as we all know, towards digital services and online broadcasting, and there's certainly a trend towards that in college athletics. I think we've done an excellent job institutionally and programmatically of embracing that and really establishing a standard of excellence in that. And you mentioned the university commitment and the university resources and infrastructure we have. It takes a great team effort and the resources of a lot of people to do a great job with it. And we're very fortunate to have some extraordinary talented folks institutionally and some great facilities and resources. We're sitting in one right now that has been, is a perfect example of an offshoot of that. So I love what we're doing and what we've done with our Stags Network. I think our Facebook Live broadcasts have been phenomenal. We've just increased the standard at our baseball contests, and so there's always something going in the right direction. And so credit Zach Dayton and his entire team on the incredible work they do. The quality's phenomenal. It takes a lot of effort. It does not just, I think a lot of people can be easily fooled by the end result, just looking at a terrific broadcast on a phone or an iPad or whatever it may be, but it takes a lot of work to get it there. And so we're fortunate to have a great team and a great effort and a great commitment to do that from our university level all the way through our department. So I love what we're doing. It's very important to our constituents, to our alums, to our parents. If we want to continue to get the maximum exposure for our programs and continue to have national exposure for all of them, and helps our constituents to stay engaged. It helps in recruiting, and it helps obviously provide a platform for the great student athletes that we have. So it's a win-win all the way around.
One last thing, but it's not to say it's the least important. It's pretty important up there. It's going to be one of the more fun and entertaining events for our supporters of Fairfield Athletics. It's the Athletics Golf Outing that's going to be coming up on Monday, May the 7th over at the Brooklawn Country Club. Spots are going very fast right now. There's not a whole lot left if you want to get out and enjoy a nice day on the links as well as support Fairfield U Athletics. But it's really one of the prime centerpiece showcases for this university and the athletics program.
Right. Excited to see what happens there this year. Certainly the first time for me. An amazing venue for us, Brooklawn. We've established a great partnership with them, certainly by virtue of them being the home to our golf teams on a regular basis, and spectacular layouts. So excited to be able to invite our constituents to that venue for a great day of golf and a great day of camaraderie. And that's, I think, the biggest thing is these types of outings from a departmental perspective to create a great opportunity to bring those different constituents together, bring our staff out and engage with our folks and our extended family. And so it's a great day all the way around. to kind of bring people together, make it a family event, literally and figuratively. And we're doing some different things to try and enhance it. Some of the auction items that we have and some of the fun things that'll be going on the course and the gifts. And so it's going to be a great event. You're right. There's only a few foursomes left, so if you don't have one, grab one now. But if you can't come and play, we'd love to have you for the dinner. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to come and enjoy what's going to happen on that day. So very excited about it. I think it's going to be a great day. We just need some good weather.
Yeah, hopefully. By
I
that
shouldn't have
point,
said that because I probably just jinxed us.
I think in May we should be all right. Right? They say April showers bring May flowers. I think we're looking pretty good. So fairfieldstags.com/golf for more information on that. And now we turn to our last segment, which is always Ask Paul, the opportunity for you at home to send in questions to us so we can directly ask Paul, who's off to my right again. fairfieldstags.com/askpaul. So. Obviously, with Fairfield University being a Jesuit school, a lot of people took notice to the one Jesuit school that made the, should we say, Cinderella run? I mean, is that kind of a thing anymore? It's almost expected now, right?
Well, I think it was certainly natural to say that on the front end. So I think you win a game, you're a team, a mid-major, you're from the Missouri Valley, and you win a game. So I think that's natural to do that. But then I think, to their credit, they deserve to relinquish that moniker because once you get to the Final Four, you're no Cinderella. You're legit, and they had an amazing run. Credit them and everything that happened with their team and their coaching staff to get them to that point, to the precipice of such great success, and so an amazing run for them institutionally, and it was fun to watch. And certainly, we were rooting for them based on our Jesuit brethren, so to speak. So it was fun to watch, and interesting also in this day and age to have them along with Villanova, another Catholic institution, in the Final Four. So indicative of the high quality, high caliber of basketball that's being played at those types of institutions.
So we're talking about Loyola Chicago here, but the real question that actually came to us is something more about the apparel as opposed to what's happening on the court. So everyone knows about Sister Jean and the whirlwind media storm that she gained throughout the tournament. Everyone saw the bar scarves that she was wearing and say, why doesn't Fairfield have it? I think it's time for you to put yours on. You got one over there. We have a Fairfield soccer Stags scarf that we've been having. We actually had this at the beginning of the soccer season. We gave this out, and people are wondering, well, why can't we get these? Well, folks, we have them. But there was only certain ways at the time to get the scarves. That was during the soccer season. We gave that out to the first 500 fans that attended a specific men's and women's soccer game. But since there's a demand now, the question is, are we bringing them back?
Well, I think we'll certainly try and bring them back, and we may have to wait till next year, obviously. Although some people might enjoy the scarves right now, given the spring weather.
This is true.
I don't know if we can get an order in on time. We'll have to check with Zach about that. But certainly next year. And obviously, we're trying to do as much as we can. I appreciate the question. I think it's great to see people's focus on the branding aspect of things, and certainly what that did for Loyola. And Sister Jean became an overnight sensation, and so whatever she wore was going to be the focal point. So we gave them out. We handed out about 500 of them earlier in the fall, and then certainly we'll keep continuing to hand out as many different types of gear and branding items as we can future forward. We want to do that. We want to get people wearing Stags gear as much as possible.
Of course, and sticking with the soccer theme, another question that was sent in to us was actually a dual question, so we're just combining it into one. Looking at Lessing Field, the pride and crown jewel of our soccer programs, right. Obviously a lot of players and coaches have told me in the past that teams love come playing here because the natural grass facility, the great additions that we've made to the facility in the last couple of years, brand new scoreboard, the new benches that have been brought in. Obviously, it's one of the best surfaces I think that we've seen in some time. But the question is, looking at perhaps maybe some new facility upgrades. I know lights is always one thing, trying to maybe perhaps bring the bleachers a little bit closer on the side with the press box, which is now across from where the bench is. Are there any updates on that?
I think we're looking at all those things, and it's probably easy for me to say this given the time frame, but certainly I'm 7 months in, almost one academic year in, and so I've spent a lot of time with our staff going through the evaluative process of all aspects of our program, and part of that is our facilities. And we're blessed with some great infrastructure, Lessing Field being one of them, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that I think hands down it's the best facility in our league. And I think, as you just said, coaches and players would indicate that as well. So we're looking at all of our facilities, individually, and trying to piece together what our needs are and how to, give us the best infrastructure we can to be the premier program in the league. So there's always things to improve on, and we're going to kind of assess all those, put them together in the form of a strategic capital plan as part of a bigger overall department plan, and we'll begin to peck away at those to give us, the best chance for our athletes to have the best facilities, train in on a daily basis and compete in, and have great venues for our fans, and then also obviously as a recruiting tool, which it always comes back to that as well.
Perfect. Well, for more opportunities to send in your questions, we'd love for you to do so for our next From the Director's Chair. Make sure to go to fairfieldstags.com/askpaul. So, Paul, thanks again for sitting down with us. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Until then, go Stags.